Hey there guys, this is Don from Prana-Tech. Today's video I'm going to be doing a review of the Hynade MTA 200 Pro Mig Welder. Alright, so this is a 200 amp Mig Welder. It can run either gasless with flux core or gas with argon CO2 mix or straight CO2. It's a 200 amp welder, so you get quite a lot of power in such a small package. That is one of the benefits of these newer generation inverter welders. So for the price, instead of having a great big welder that takes up half of your shop, you get a nice compact welder with a lot of power, so you can weld, a lot of different things. Plus you can take it mobile if you want. Take it out in the field, run an extension cord, and still, get a lot of welding done, around the house or the farm. That is one of the benefits of this, is that it's also a stick welder. So you have the ability to run stick if you really don't want to bring a gas bottle out, or if you don't have, the capability or the wire to do flux core. This is a great little package. I've run a few beads with it, and it welds really nice. It comes with a decent ground clamp. It comes with about a 10 to 12 foot Euro style torch. It's pretty well built. It's got a nice solid but flexible cable that it comes with. It comes with a hose for hooking up to argon CO2 mix or straight CO2. One of the things it doesn't come with is a regulator, so if you're going to run CO2 or argon CO2 mix, you'll need to get the appropriate regulator for that for your tank. I already have one, so I just hooked it right up, but if you don't have one already, obviously that's something that you're going to need to get. Other than that, I'd like to go through the features of this welder and show you how the layout of the interface is, and also run some beads and show you how nice it welds. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, so here's the front of the welder, and I'd like to point out a few of the features that I think are pretty handy. It is set up for a spool gun, so you can weld aluminum with it. So it is spool gun ready. That's a nice feature. The other thing is that the layout here lays it out pretty simple for solid wire or flux core. You basically plug this into whichever one you're going to be doing. If you're flux core, you go or electrode negative, and this is for the MIG torch, and then wherever one that's left open is the one that is for the ground. So for flux wire, you're electrode negative. For solid wire with gas, you're going to be running electrode positive. I'm going to be running gas, so I'm going to put it in solid wire with gas. So this is a nice feature because a lot of the welders, the import MIGs, they make you go inside and switch the power cable that goes to the actual torch, and that's kind of a pain. I like this setup. It's very convenient for switching back and forth on the fly between flux core and solid wire and gas. So I think this is one of the definite positive features of this welder. Up here we have a very simple interface. The manual that this comes with is pretty well laid out and easy to follow, and it shows the interface and what each section is for and how to navigate through it. And it was very simple. I actually, when I first turned it on, because I've played with enough welders, it was very intuitive, and it was easy to get through the menu to what I wanted to get to make settings for wire size, amperage, gas or gasless, that sort of thing. So what I'll do is I'll turn this on and show the interface. It's very nice, very detailed, and has a nice look to it. So let me turn that on and I'll zoom in and we can take a look at that. All right, so I've got it on now, and we can see I've got it on Mig Welder. You can see the icon, the white on top here. This shows you what you're on. If you select, you can go through all the features for Mig Welder with the left button here. If I want to switch processes, I can go to spool gun, stick, lift TIG, and back to Mig Welder. Once you have one and it selects it, which it does in just a second or two, then you can select each different feature for each one. If you go through them, I have the choice between solid wire, flux core, and you can go back and forth between each one. If you keep selecting, you go to 2T or 4T, which is when you hit the button, whether it stays on or keeps going when you let go of the button. The other thing is you have here wire size. For a solid wire, it's 30 thousandths or 35. And I can select in between each one. You can then go to stick welding, go through the features for that. You have hot arc, you have arc force. It also gives you a heads up on your plate thickness. Because this is a synergistic welder, whatever amperage you set it at, it automatically adjusts the voltage and wire feed speed for the thickness of metal. So you have a quick reference here where you can go, okay, it's in millimeters, but it's pretty, I mean, everybody knows that pretty much 3 millimeters is 1/8 inch and 6 millimeters is pretty close to 1/4 inch. So you get an idea, you know, what your thickness is if you just want to adjust your amperage and what thickness you're going to get for appropriate for the steel that you're welding. And we get back to Mig Welder. And we're on solid core. I have 30 thousandths wire loaded. And you can see we're set at 50 amps. We can adjust this up. We're going to crank it up because I've got some 1/4 inch and I've got some 1/8 inch that I'm going to do some test plates with just to try this thing out. So we'll crank it all the way up. 200 amps, 24 volts is what it selected. So we'll give it a run at this at the thickest and see how it does, and then I'll crank it back down and run some 1/8 inch as well. All right, let's take it through some test welds and see how it does. All right, so I've got some 1/4 inch tubing. I'm just gonna run a couple beads, see how it does at the full 200 amps. Try another one, see how it does. Nice smooth beads. Not bad at all. Let me try some 1/8 inch. Let me just tack this up. Wow, it's got a nice, smooth, stable arc. Very nice. All right, so here's some beads that I ran. This is the 1/8 inch tubing. You can see not a lot of splatter. It's nice, clean, smooth bead, good penetration. 1/4 inch has got a little bit of spatter, but good penetration, and welded nice and smooth. It's got a very stable arc. All right, so let's get to the review part. What do I think of this Hynade MTA 200 Pro? Well, I ran it through its paces and it performed flawlessly. I couldn't find any glitch. I couldn't find anything actually that I didn't like. It welds nice and smooth. It's easy to use. It's easy to set up. The drive wheels and the drive system is all metal, and so that's one of the things that I really like. I really don't like plastic drive wheels or plastic gears that run the feed system, and this one has pretty much what a lot of the better quality MIGs are coming with, and that is a whole all metal cartridge that drives the MIG wire. So overall, I'm very impressed. It's a great MIG welder. I'm going to run it through some more welding. I've got a couple projects that I'm going to do, so I'm going to be using it and see how it does, over the long term. But for now, having set it up and welded with it, it performs to the quality that I'm used to from Hynade. I've tested a couple of their welders, and this one seems to be of the same quality of everything else I've had from them. If you're looking to get into MIG welding, this is a great unit. It's a great MIG because of the synergy settings. It pretty much calculates everything for you, so it's a very easy to set up and easy to get started MIG welding. For the money, it's a great value. It always amazes me that they're able to pack 200 amps into such a small package and make it so portable. The fact that you can run this on 120 and 240 volts makes it ideal for anyone wanting to weld. So overall, I'm very impressed. I think it's a great welder, and I think it'd be great for just about anything you want to do with a home MIG setup. I did want to mention that it does come with a 2-pound spool of flux core and a 2-pound spool of solid wire. So you can, right out of the box, get welding with it without having to buy anything. You do have to, if you want to use the solid core, you will have to get a regulator, but if you just want to weld with flux core, it comes with a spool to get you started. It does come with a spare drive wheel and some tips, some spare tips, a wrench for changing the tips, and a roll of Teflon tape. So overall, I think I'm pretty happy with how this thing performs, and I think you would too. Hopefully you got something out of this and help you make a decision whether this is a decent welder or not. If you do, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.